Hello all, a very good morning to all of you. This is Vilasini from Veranda IAS and friends, இன்னைக்கு என்ன பார்க்க போறோம்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா the daily current affairs analysis for the dates 16th, 17th and 18th of August 2025. So I hope all of you had a fantastic and a productive weekend. So now that the weekend is done, it's important to start with a bright and positive Monday morning. So yes, every day before we start, we talk about something positive, correct? So இன்னைக்கு வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா there was something that I wanted to discuss with all of you, which is about the right environment. The right environment, okay? So preparation பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும், right? Your hard work, your smart work, the number of hours that you study, having a right strategy, executing the strategy, இது எல்லாமே important. But what are some unknown factors, right? External factors which can impact your preparation. Abdin pata number one, your environment. So yes, it is very important that you keep your study environment happy and positive. So in the context, be it a library, be it a study room, be it whatever place, your house, proper place with ample amount of good lighting, good ventilation, make sure you're well equipped. Next வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா your social circle. Surround yourself with positive people, with people who will motivate you, right? So in the context, your friends, the people who support you in your preparation journey, they should be a catalyst to your preparation. Chemistry la ஒரு word இருக்கு, okay? I'm sure all of you must have heard about it. What is catalyst? Catalyst. So catalyst வந்து என்னன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா a substance which alters the rate of a reaction. Most importantly, it speeds up the reaction process. So in the context la பேசும்போது, right, your friends, your peer group should be people who motivate you, encourage you to reach your goals quicker and faster. And next most important thing is you yourself, your mind, right? So remember one thing, preparation பொறுத்த வரைக்கும், right, overthinking, right, unnecessary thoughts, that will not help. It is important to declutter unnecessary thoughts, have a plan, have a strategy and execute. இப்படி இருந்தால் மட்டும்தான் you will be able to manage your time efficiently. நீங்கள் எழுதுகிற daily targets you will be able to achieve, and weekly progress பார்க்கும்போது you will have a sense of satisfaction that okay, we are going on the right track. But imagine if your environment is not good, right? Or if you are completely overthinking, or if there are too much external factors bothering your preparation, overall என்ன ஆகும்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா that will hit your productivity. When your productivity gets hit, உங்களால் நீங்கள் செட் பண்ண டார்கெட்ஸை ஃபுல்லாக முடிக்க முடியாது. And when that does not happen, you will have a lot of guilt. You will start feeling anxious. It will become overwhelming. So yes, பாதி ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ்க்கு சொல்யூஷன்ஸ் நம்மக்கிட்டே இருக்குது. So if we address some external factors also which can impact your preparation and turn the direction into a positive course, you are making your life and your preparation much more simpler, effective and productive. Okay, so remember this. Yes, so coming one week, I wish you all a very positive and a productive week ahead. So yes, நம்ம வந்து இப்போ என்ன பண்ண போகிறோம்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா the topics from 16th, 17th and 18th which were in the Hindu International Edition paper, we are going to decode all of this, okay? So in the context, yes, let us take a look at 16th August or topics. Number 1, PM Modi makes strong pitch for self-reliance. Yes, so all of you know that one of the longest speech was given by our Prime Minister, right, on Independence Day. So in the context of many initiatives, many schemes are being discussed, and here self-reliance, Atma Nirbhar Bharat, was also the cornerstone of discussion. So in the context of what were some schemes which were highlighted, what were some initiatives that we are going to do, இது எல்லாமே we will be discussing. And yes, உங்க எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும், India has an idea of becoming Vikshit Bharat, correct, by 2047. So yes, all of this is with reference to that. So in the topic, we can bring it under multiple scopes. GS paper 3 economy கீழே கொண்டு வரலாம், GS paper 2 polity and governance கீழே கொண்டு வரலாம், right? Yes, okay. Next, yet again plastic treaty ends in stalemate. Okay, so unfortunately, yes, the world is not able to arrive at a consensus on a legally binding plastic treaty. Okay, so idinala there are two divided groups, right? So plastic as a problem, it's still continuing, and plastics kaga or legally binding treaty the world has once again failed to arrive at. So idu patti we will be discussing what are the differences of opinion, why is it not getting materialized, what is the position of India on plastics, இது வந்து நம்ம discuss பண்ணுவோம். So yes, pollution as a topic features in your GS paper 3 environment. இதில் specifically plastic pollution has a vital role to play. Okay, next, guard against rising threats to sovereignty and communal harmony, says Kerala Chief Minister. So guys, although இது வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா state கீழே இருக்கிற ஒரு டாப்பிக்காக இருந்தாலுமே this becomes important because topics like secularism, communalism, regionalism, right, இது எல்லாமே உங்கள் GS paper 1 Indian society-ல it features as an important topic. Okay, so in the context we will discuss about communalism, the issues, why is it happening, right, some key terms with which value addition panna unga answers romba enriched ah irukum, we will try understanding all of that. And next, the day a village in Uttarakanshi disappeared. So yes, ellarkume theriyum, right, the flash flood event, right, which was followed by a cloud burst. So there was a great damage to life and property. So in the context, just the background and few updates. Idha mattum nama paaka porom. So yes, this will feature as a topic in your GS paper 3 disaster management. Okay, done. So next, moving forward, 17th August la irundha important ana topics. Yes, so number 1, there is no deal on the Ukraine war until there is a deal. So page 1 layum vanduchu, page 12 layum vanduchu, there were updates. So in the context la, yes, we all know the Alaska summit took place where the Russian president had met Trump, right? So Putin had met Trump and there were discussions on the Russia-Ukraine war which is taking place. So in the context la, GS paper 2 international relations, this feature has an important topic. Next, scientists turn Escherichia coli bacteria into a mercury sensor. So in the context, yes, this feature has a topic from your GS paper 3 science and tech. Okay, and specifically inga vandu pathina we will try understanding what is regarded as biosensor. Okay, so guys, apart from this, right, nama already discuss panna egapatta sila topics have been constantly repeating, which I want you all to go back and read. For example, some topics which I want you all to go and read is number 1 with regard to the Israel-Palestine conflict, right, the plans for Gaza, updates to this mattu ninga parunga, that will do. Next one, special intensive revision exercise. இதை பற்றி நம்ம ரொம்ப டீட்டெயிலாக டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். Multiple articles are still there in the paper, but I don't want to cover the same thing over and over again. So I want you all to watch the playlist and try completing this topic as well. So apart from this, certain general topics, right, with regard to the governor, right, so in the context, sila topics, vice president, இது எல்லாமே நம்ம already cover பண்ணிட்டோம், but again these topics are also there, so just go through them and try covering them. That's it. Okay, so in the context of what we will do is we will look at the topics for your 18th August, right, quite a few topics for us to cover. So file affidavit in 7 days or apologize, Election Commission has told Rahul Gandhi. So page 1, yes, 18th August 2025. In the context GS paper 2, right, so here நம்ம எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும் GS paper 2 polity la election commission as a constitutional body. So that is the scope of discussion, right? Exam portha varaikum controversies are not required, but what is the scope of discussion, that is what we have to primarily focus on. So here syllabus vechu paakumbodhu election commission being a constitutional body, that becomes important. Next வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா in a first Karaikal to get advanced fisheries processing cluster. So yes, with regard to this particular article we will be discussing about a scheme. Okay, so in the context வந்து காரைக்கால்ல வந்து fisheries boost பண்றதுக்காக, right, having a processing unit, cold chains, infra development, improved supply chain, இது எல்லாமே we will try understanding. Okay, so here இங்க வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா GS paper 3 economy கீழ fisheries வந்து நம்ம கொண்டு வரலாம். Next, 5 children among 7 killed in cloudburst landslide in Kathua. So it is becoming very unfortunate, right? Or time span with not more than just 2 weeks, right? Multiple calamities have been taking place. Ipoda Uttarakanshi we saw something massive happen, right? And also very recently vandu pathina in Kishtwar district of Jammu and Kashmir la kuda this is happening. And next again very recently, right, again one more place in Kathua, right, cloudburst nala like flash flood events, right, landslides etc have taken a toll on the life of people. So yes, in the context la GS paper 3 disaster management la this features as an important topic. Grassland invaders stifle Assam's island like national park home to feral horses stays a study. So yes, நம்ம already invasive species பற்றி படிச்சிருக்கோம். But in the context of how can some native species also affect the riverine ecosystem, that we will try understanding. And in the context it is specifically talking about the Dibru Saikhowa National Park, which is located in Assam, right? And inga vandu pathina there are some horses called as the feral horses. We will try understanding a few things about this as well. So protected areas, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, species, GS paper 3 environment it features as an important topic. Next, biodiversity everywhere is ordered by a hidden pattern. Okay, so biodiversity unga ellarkume theriyum, again GS paper 3 environment la it is an important topic. So a study basically has been made where enna romba interesting ah irukku pathina they are comparing biodiversity distribution similar to that of an onion. So onion la eppadi neenga oru peel remove பண்ணும்போது you can get different pieces. அதே மாதிரி தான் biodiversity is distributed across every continent and ocean. So idu patti we will try understanding few things, and in the context la GS paper 3 environmental this features as a topic. Next, healthocide. So all of us know Israel Palestine conflict is going on, and in the context la vandu pathina the damage on healthcare, bombing of hospitals. So yes, when there is a genocide actually taking place, they have also coined a term called as a healthocide. So in the context of social justice, international relations, this topic features. Okay. Next vandu pathina Putin agreed to US EU security guarantees for Ukraine at summit. So yes, this is an update to the talks between US and Russia, right, on the Ukraine-Russia issue which is going on. So in the context we will combine that topic and this topic and we will cover it together. So guys, idudana all the topics that we will be seeing for today, right? Sila topics are repetitive topics, so we will have a quick glance on it and we will keep moving forward. So I hope all of you have a good clarity of what we are getting into. Okay, so yes, so let's start with this. So unga ellarkume theriyum our Independence Day just got over, right, and our Prime Minister delivered a 103-minute long speech, which is the longest speech ever to be made. And in the context of a lot of things were being mentioned, right? The future course of action for India for 2047. How can we become a massive $1 trillion economy? How can we emerge as a global leader, right? Idu ellame discuss pannirukanga. So talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is like self-reliance, the Prime Minister has also mentioned that self-respect is a yardstick to measure self-reliance. So in the context what are some initiatives that India will be coming up with? Different ministries and their initiatives idu ellame highlight pannirukanga. Some major highlights alone based on whatever the Prime Minister has said, we will try understanding. So in the context vandu pathina, yes, Operation Sindhurle we know S-400 defense systems from Russia played a major role, right, in protecting certain key infrastructure. So idhe madri pathina India is planning on coming up with what is called as Sudarshan Chakra, Mission Sudarshan Chakra, where it will be nothing but an air defense shield. Okay, and 2035 kulla we are trying to bring it in and trying to improve India's defense capabilities. So critical infrastructure, hospitals, right, major places ku protection offer pandradhukaga this has been discussed. Next vandu pathina he's also mentioned about a particular scheme, and this is called as Pradhan Mantri Vikshit Bharat Rozgar Yojana. Idea vandu enna, first time employees ku vande, especially in the private sector, we will give them a grant of rupees 15,000. Okay, so this is to make or encourage more youth to take up jobs, right? And next வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா nuclear energy expansion. Yes, so நம்ம எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும், we as a country are very dependent on certain countries for crude oil imports. Next, towards talking about climate change, the entire world is talking about lowering carbon emissions. India kuda pathina, we have to fulfill our commitments to the Paris Agreement. We have our own nationally determined contributions, adiyum nama fulfill pannanom. And we are also saying that we have to shift towards zero carbon emissions. We have to move towards green growth, hydrogen economy. So இந்த மாதிரியான விஷயங்கள் பற்றி பேசும்போது enhancing our nuclear capabilities is also very important. So what they have said is by 2047, 10 nuclear plants would come into existence and would be operating அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. Next, we also know semiconductor mission. India has its own mission, right? So semiconductors, chips, etc. இது எல்லாமே promote பண்றதுக்காக, right, more efforts will be taken. At the same time, we have also said critical minerals காகையும் we will launch a critical mineral exploration mission. இது தவிர GSTல சில reforms which can benefit people, right? And இதே மாதிரி self-help groups promote பண்றதுக்கு certain things have been discussed. So many more highlights were there. Primary highlights இதுதான். So if these schemes, initiatives are in news, இது பற்றி கொஞ்சம் elaborate போய் படிங்க. Okay, so this is the context of this particular topic. Next வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா with regard to the plastic treaty, right? So உங்க எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும், plastic as an issue is there around us every day, correct? So plastics வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா has got so integrated with our lives, it is very difficult to imagine our life without plastic. So சுத்தி plastic நம்ம சுத்தி இருக்கு, right? And the biggest problem is plastic is non-biodegradable, right? It does not decompose easily. It persists in the environment for a very long period of time. And in the plastic வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா it will break down into tiny fragments. And yes, plastic has been found in fetus, plastic has been found in breast milk. Plastic can even cause severe damage to human health. So in the context there was also a term called as microplastics. இதை பற்றி நம்ம பேசியிருக்கோம், right? So micro beads are nothing but microplastics which are of very small size, right, which can majorly cause damage to aquatic ecosystems. So plastics associated ஏகப்பட்ட problems இருக்கு. But in the context what we need to understand is globally many countries, when they were trying to arrive at a consensus on a legally binding plastic treaty, இது fail ஆயிடுச்சு, right? So the world was not able to arrive at a legally binding treaty to deal with the plastic problem. So this is quite concerning, right? So basically என்ன சொல்லியிருக்காங்கன்னா overall வந்து once again, right, for the second time since October 2024, the world is not able to arrive at a legally binding treaty to deal with plastics. So in the context வந்து if we see overall in the article major என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா, what have been the major differences of opinion between the different groupings, right? And why was it difficult to arrive at a consensus? So in the context வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா there were two major groupings. One is called as the high ambition coalition, right? Many African countries were there. It was spearheaded by Norway and Rwanda, right? So in the countries என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா, plastic production ஏ நம்ம halt பண்ணணும், or we have to reduce it massively. Then there is one more group called as the like-minded countries, and India is also part of the like-minded countries. And இவங்க என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா, rather than focusing on immediate production cuts, let's focus on management of plastic, waste management, reuse, recycle, right? So in the context let us talk about managing the plastic waste rather than having production cuts. So here வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா the world is divided on two stands, because some countries feel that it is important to not even use plastic, replace plastic, find a substitute. One more group feels that இல்ல plastic production இருக்கட்டும், ஆனா management of plastic பத்தி நம்ம focus பண்ணலாம், right? Because plastic can be used to drive petrochemicals, right? Many polymers can be made, many supply chains are based on plastics. So என்ன fear பண்றாங்க many countries is that it can take a massive hit on that trade. It can disrupt existing supply chains. So இந்த மாதிரி ஆச்சுனா it can create a massive problem, right? So there is a global north and a global south divide as well. That is a divide between developed and developing countries, right? So in the context வந்து the need to replace plastics, right? That is a point of discussion. At the same time, management of plastics. So inga vandu ஒரு strong difference of opinion இருக்கதனால once again the world has not been able to arrive at a legally binding treaty to address the plastic problem, right? So here what some countries are saying is plastics வந்து நம்ம ரொம்பவே யூஸ் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டோம். So immediately to find an alternative will become difficult, and if we completely restrict the production of plastics, supply chains in trade etc வந்து ரொம்பவே massive-ஆ அடி வாங்கும். So in the context let us focus on management, right? So this has been the different stance. So in the context I want you to read about plastics. I want you to read about few terms. Micro beads பத்தி போய் படிங்க. Read about plastic crusts. Read about nurdles. These are all some terms, okay? And apart from this, also some terminologies like bioaccumulation. So bioaccumulation na enna? It is nothing but the concentration of a toxicant within the body of an organism. Okay, so these are some terminologies associated with it. But in the context like yes, India vandu pathina to tackle plastics, right? We have imposed bans on single use plastics in many places. Next, we are also talking about a particular mission called as Mission Life. So in the Mission Life ennan pathina lifestyle for the environment. So in the Mission Life we are talking about circular economy. Circular economy na enna? For example, we are producing goods, right? In the goods at the end of its life cycle, right, it has to be brought back into the system again. How can it be brought back? Reduce, reuse, refurbish, right, recycle, இது எல்லாமே பண்ணி it can be brought back into the system. So yes, goods நம்ம repeatedா system குள்ள கொண்டு வரும்போது இருக்கிற or தேவைப்படுற resource extraction will become less, and when resource extraction becomes less, in turn we are not exploiting the resources around us, and it could also pave the way towards what is called as sustainable development. So sustainable development na enna? Development of today should not affect tomorrow's development, right? இன்னைக்கு நம்ம என்ஜாய் பண்ற resources நம்ம future generations க்கு நாளைக்கு கூட இருக்கணும். This is what sustainable development means. So unfortunately பாத்தீங்கன்னா the world has not been able to arrive at a global plastics treaty. Only if there is consensus, only the binding ஆக்கனா மட்டும்தான் can some effort be taken to address the challenges posed by plastic. Okay, so this is the context of this article. So in the context that 2019 previous year question solve பண்ணலாம். Why is there a great concern about the microbeads that are released into the environment? 2019 prelims கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Okay, so number one, they are considered harmful to marine ecosystems. They are considered to cause skin cancer in children. They are small enough to be absorbed by crop plants in irrigated field. They are often found to be used as food adulterants. So let me tell you, silla words la UPSC can set traps for you. Okay, for example, micro. In the word paathitu, please don't link it to this word small enough. It's a trap, because microbead is another name for microplastics, and microplastics are considered harmful to marine ecosystems. This is the correct answer. Okay, so like this questions varumbodhu try to link it with the previous year questions, only then you will be able to understand இந்த மாதிரியான டாபிக்ஸ் வந்து எப்படி எக்ஸாம்ல கேக்குறாங்க. Okay, so next moving forward, guard against rising threats to sovereignty and communal harmony, says Kerala Chief Minister. So in the context more than the article, the focus is primarily on understanding communalism. Okay, communalism, right? So threats to sovereignty பத்தி பேசும்போது communalism is also a threat. Okay, so let us understand few things. So communalism na enna? In the image பாருங்க, it clearly sums up the idea of communalism. Okay, so you find two groups of people, இவங்க ரெண்டு பேருக்கு நடுவுல there is nothing but a strong divide. Okay, so simple meaning like communalism என்னன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா differences between different religious groups. Communalism is often rooted with religion. So basically என்னன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, just because I belong to one religion, right, என்னோட social, political, economic views can be completely opposite or different to a person belonging to another religion. Because எங்களோட differences ரொம்பவே அதிகமா இருக்கிறதுனால we cannot live with each other. So it can also be called as a negative sentiment towards another religion. antagonism towards another religion, hatred towards another religion, right? So that can also be brought under the scope of communalism. Okay, so communalism as a topic இதை வச்சு நிறைய questions வந்திருக்கு in your mains, right? So in the context the idea is people belonging to different religions cannot coexist and live because their social, political, economic ideals can be different. Okay, so this is communalism. In the context communalism what characteristics enna? Number one, it can cause what is called as cultural exclusion. So edavadhu or edathila, right, if there is a lot of communal violence, places of worship, important sites are basically targeted. So here somewhere it can result in cultural exclusion. Next one, communalism la kuda pathina social exclusion will take place. Individuals will feel cornered, individuals will ask to be moved to certain outskirts, right? So in the madriyana social exclusion kuda nadakalam. See, many communities may also feel poverty, unemployment is more on them, the benefits of development is not equally favored to them, inclusiveness illa, idu ellame is a form of social exclusion na. Next வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா there is always a certain degree of suspicion, right? So the communities always fear any time something can go wrong, right? So இந்த மாதிரியான issues கூட இருக்கலாம். And there is also something called as xenophobic tendencies. Xenophobia na என்ன? Xenophobia basically means fear of the alien. So minorities sometimes can fear majoritarianism. This can also be called as xenophobia. Okay, so in the madriyana terms when you use it in your answers, it will enhance the quality of your answer. Okay, so next moving forward, I wanted to tell you some key terms. Ninga unga answers la ninga eludhumbodhu sila key terms quote panna mattudha your answers will look good. So let me tell you, anybody can write an answer, right? What sets apart your answer from another person's answer is value addition. Value addition can be statistics, examples, key terms, case studies, etc. So the more examples, more statistics, nariya key terms ninga quote panna your answers or quality will look very nice, very comprehensive and very reward worthy, and that will improve your overall score. Okay, so in the context of some key terms for you, communalism associated irukra key terms. Number one, majoritarianism. Majoritarianism na enna? Majority views imposing it or promoting a majority view in comparison to a minority interest. That is called as majoritarianism. You can use words like this. Next, identity politics, right? Identity politics, vote bank politics, they all go hand in hand. Religion and politics, right? So using religion as a tool for politics is identity politics. And in the context like ghettoization, so ghetto and ization, so basically means sometimes sila edathla pathina minorities or even some communities at a disadvantage will be living in the outskirts. This is a form of exclusion. In the outskirts of already is called as ghettoization. Okay, so here ghettoization. Next, blasphemy accusations, right? So sometimes, right, misusing the religious sentiment of the people to provoke violence, right? So in the madriyana terms. Next, digital radicalization, right? So nariya social media platforms la kuda there is hatred, youth are being indoctrinated, idu ellame irukku. Next வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா echo chambers. Echo chambers na enna பாத்தீங்கன்னா it is a place where certain negative views on a particular religion is made. So that is called as echo chambers. This is online la irukra oru platform. So in the context la vandu neenga answers eludhumbodhu kuda try using terminologies like this. It will enhance the quality of your answer. Okay, so now in this context for a previous year question paathalam. Communalism arises either due to power struggle or relative deprivation. A beautiful statement actually. Argue by giving suitable illustrations. Suitable illustrations oda meaning na enna? Basically giving suitable examples. Okay, so 2018 la paathirkingana 15 marka ketirukanga, which is nothing but 250 words, right? 3 pages basically. So in the context of communalism, power struggle, right? The need for political representation or relative deprivation. When a particular community feels they are neglected, they do not have access to jobs, education, healthcare, etc. So these could be the major reasons for communalism abdin sollirukanga, which is very right. So in the context you need to write a nice answer for 15 marks. Okay, 2018 la ketirukanga. Fine. Next, let's move forward to the next topic, right? The day in a village in Uttarakashi disappeared, right? So in the context, like, yes, this is just a follow-up to what we have already been seeing for a very long time. So இதுக்குள்ள நான் ரொம்ப in-depth போல. The idea is simple, we all know, right? Unfortunately, an event took place. Uttarakashi, Uttarakhand specifically வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, right? There was a cloudburst event. Cloudburst triggered flash floods, great damage to life and property. Many people have gone missing. NDRF personnel, the ITBP, the Indo-Tibetan Border Force, many forces have been deployed to undertake rescue measures, right? And in the time la வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, yes, events like this are frequently occurring in the Himalayan region, right? So in the context la, I want you to read about the Indian Himalayan region, right? What are the reasons for increased calamities? ஏன் இந்த இடத்துல calamities are on the rise? Fine. So number one, trigger factors. It could either be cloudbursts, flash floods, and consequences like landslides, avalanches, glacier melt. இது ஒரு ரீசனாக இருக்கலாம். நெக்ஸ்ட் வந்து பார்த்தா ஆந்த்ரோபோஜெனிக் ஃபேக்டர்ஸ் பற்றி பேசும்போது இன்ஃப்ராஸ்ட்ரக்சர் ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ், மைனிங் ஆக்டிவிட்டீஸ், இன்க்ரீஸ் டூரிசம். இன்ஃபேக்ட் உத்தரகாஷியில் நிறைய பேர் டிஸப்பியர் ஆனவங்க, ஆர் மெனி பீப்புள் ஹூ மேஜர்லி எஃபெக்டட் வர் பீப்புள் ஹூ கேம் ஃபார் தி சார் தம் யாத்ரா. ஓகே, ஸோ இதை பற்றி கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? Char Dham Yatra. All of you know what Yatra is. Yatra is like a pilgrimage, right? So Char is basically 4. Dham basically refers to 4 pilgrimage sites. இது எல்லாமே உத்தராகண்ட்ல இருக்கு. என்ன sites பார்த்தீங்கன்னா Yamunotri, Gangotri, Kedarnath and Badrinath, right? So இது வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா it is primarily opened only during the summer months. Winterல it is closed. So there is a huge influx of tourism also which is taking place. So sometimes too much people, right, too much tourism, not effective planning, industrialization, infrastructure development, many projects, deforestation, etc. வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா it can trigger such events. So yes, இது பற்றினா the article, we have already discussed about this in detail. So just go through this once again. That's it. Okay. So in the context, let's move into solving a previous year question, right? So 16th August on the question, flooding in urban areas is an emerging climate-induced disaster. Discuss the causes of this disaster. Mention the features of 2 such major floods in the last 2 decades in India. Describe the policies and frameworks in India that aim at tackling such floods. Okay, so 250 words question, meaning 15 marks, 2024 la ketirukanga. So the question of urban floods, right, natural calamities, etc. is often tested. So in the context, because we have been reading about cloudburst, flash floods, go read about it. Okay, இதெல்லாம் core geography topics போய் cover பண்ணுங்க. Next வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா let's move into topics for 17th August. So 17th and 18th இருந்த one common topic we are going to combine. So in the context வந்து it is nothing but the meeting which basically took place between Putin and Trump, the Alaska summit, and what was being discussed in the context of Russia-Ukraine war. So in the context of what were some major updates, right? இதை மட்டும் we will see, and what were recent updates as of today morning, அதையும் நம்ம பார்க்க போகிறோம். So yes, in the context வந்து we need to understand that since the time, right, 2022 when Russia started invading Ukraine, right, lot of issues were there, many countries had divided opinions, and since then, right, it's the first time that Trump and Putin have met. So in the context வந்து US, that is Trump's position has slightly changed in சொல்கிறாங்க. Earlier his primary immediate requirement was a ceasefire. But அதை தாண்டி now he said we have to move towards securing comprehensive peace between both the countries. So in the context of what was Russia's demands அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா, number one, Russia is not very happy with militarization taking place in Ukraine. Russia does not want Ukraine to be a member of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Next one பார்த்தா, Russia wants recognition of certain territories it has captured or rather annexed from Ukraine. And next அவங்க என்ன சொல்கிறாங்க, western sanctions lift up பண்ணிடணும், right? It should no longer be there. So these have been certain demands of Russia. Next one, yes, discussions poche, but as of 17th, right, not many major updates were there. But today morning, yes, based on the discussions which took place the previous day, that is Sunday, what has basically happened is Putin has agreed to some conditions, right? But at the same time here, there is a need for comprehensive peace. That also needs to be the way forward. So in the context, yes, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, there is one major article called as Article 5. Article 5 என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா an attack on any member or a group of members in NATO is seen as a collective attack on all members. So in the context US said that it will offer an Article 5 ல இருக்கிற provision like protection for Ukraine, for which Russia has agreed, right? So that is one thing that has come out of the discussion. Next one, Russia has also said that it will not continue to seize or annex any more territories of Ukraine, which is also a welcome move. So in the context, yes, both sides, number one, have to stick on to their decisions. Adu kuda is required, right? So any other groups, like the European Union has welcomed some parts of this, right? At the same time, the Ukrainian president is also a little bit content with regard to some outcomes of this, right? So the world is watching, right? India is also watching. So in the context, if any more updates come out of this, we will be covering it in the subsequent sessions, okay? So yes, so in the context, let us move forward to the next topic. Unga GS paper 3 science and tech lende scientists have turned Escherichia coli bacteria into mercury sensor. So in the article பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் என்ன பேசுறாங்கன்னா, what is a biosensor? What is a biosensor? Okay, so biosensor பத்தி பேசும்போது we need to understand that it involves a biological component. Biological component na, it could be an enzyme, it could be a living cell, right? So in the, or it could be a particular type of bacteria, anything, it can be engineered. So in the context it will basically detect a particular substance in the body. Detect panna odane, it will issue a signal, right? And the signal will be in a signal which we can interpret. It can either be an electrical signal, right, optical signal, எப்படினாலும் இருக்கலாம். So this is a biosensor. So in the context yes, இப்போ Escherichia coli வச்சு mercury detect பண்றதுக்காக biosensor has been developed. What many people say is this is much better than the traditional sensors which more or less use enzymes, right? Prepare பண்றதுக்கு long, right? It is very weak, can easily break off, right? இந்த மாதிரியான challenges இருக்கு with traditional sensors, right? So in the context what is a biosensor? இது மட்டும் தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டா போறோம், right? So biosensors, what a biosensor will do. So in the context it is nothing but number one, a biological detector, and next a signal converter. For example, body la sugar irukku, especially diabetic patients. So in the context having a glucose biosensor, right, what it will do, body la sugar irukumbodhu it will identify it, right, it will sense it, and it will convert it into a electrical signal which will tell us that okay, this is the output. So in the context biosensors can have multiple applications, especially in the medical field, right? So biosensor na enna, biosensor oda applications enna, science and tech பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் applications play a vital role. So from tackling issues like pollution to human health, right, biosensors can be very useful. So இது பத்தி போய் கொஞ்சம் படிங்க, okay? Next one, yes, as of today, what are some major important topics? 18th August 2025 பார்க்கும்போது number 1, file affidavit in 7 days or apologize. Election Commission has told Rahul Gandhi. So yes, உங்க எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும், recently Rahul Gandhi had made a very bold statement, right, and he had said that vote theft had taken place, right, and he is accusing the Election Commission of not having conducted fair elections. He's also basically accused the ruling party, right? So 2024 la vande, especially in Karnataka, right, in a particular place called as the Mahadevpura assembly segment. So in the context he has said that vote theft has taken place. Many such issues were there, right? So let us keep the controversies aside. In the context of election commission, right, election commission or a role, right, this becomes important from a polity perspective, okay? So in the context yes, let us understand a few things, right? So we all know Election Commission of India is an independent constitutional body. So talking about articles, Article 324. Article 324 basically says that the superintendent's direction and control of elections will be vested with a body called as the Election Commission of India. So in the Election Commission of India பார்த்தீங்கன்னா it will conduct elections to the offices of the president, the vice president, right, and also to the parliament and the state legislature. On the other hand, the State Election Commission is responsible for elections to the panchayat and municipalities. So in the context, yes, one more article we have to remember is Article 326, which talks about universal adult franchise. So Indian citizens 18 and above, right, whose names are there in the electoral roll are eligible to vote. Okay, so this is one. So yes, unga ellarkume theriyum, earlier the voting age was 21 and then later it was brought down to 18. So the 21 to 18 maarumbodhu dhaan the Election Commission of India became a 3-member body from being a single member body, right? So the appointment is done by the president, right? The composition will also be determined by the president from time to time. So in the context, Election Commission of India oda composition பத்தி பேசும்போது one chief election commissioner and 2 election commissioners as of now. Okay, so yes, few more things. Appointment is done by the president, right? They hold office for a term not exceeding 6 years or until they attain the age of 65, whichever is earlier, right? So in the context there, the chief election commissioner is basically removed by the president in a manner similar to that of a judge of a Supreme Court. So this is one thing. And next, one more thing you need to understand, for the other election commissioners to be removed, right, the chief election commissioner can recommend. These are few things, okay? So in the context, say yes, about Election Commission of India, few more things that you have to go read, right? The manner of removal, the ellame is important. Just go through all of it. So yes, also looking at a previous year question, consider the following statements. The Election Commission of India is a 5-member body, right? Nam ellarkume theriyum this is wrong. Union Ministry of Home Affairs decides the election schedules for the conduct of both general elections and by-elections. This is also wrong. The Election Commission resolves the disputes relating to splits, mergers or recognized political parties. Which of the following statements given above are correct? So in the context, if you look at the options, right, the only option that you have to watch out for is option 2. ஏன்னா 2 வந்து 3 இடத்துல இருக்கு. இந்த கான்டெக்ஸ்ட் உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருச்சு செகண்ட் ஒன் இஸ் ராங் அப்படின்னு தெரிஞ்சிட்டாலே if you strike out 2, you straight away get the answer 3 only. So as much as possible elimination apply பண்ண try பண்ணுங்க because it will save you a lot of time. Okay, because prelims is about eliminating and arriving at the right answer. Okay, yes, so in the context வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா let's also look at a mains question. Discuss the role of the Election Commission of India in the light of the evolution of the Model Code of Conduct. 250 words, 15 mark question 2022 la கேட்டிருக்காங்க, right? So Election Commission of India, that too Election Commission of India being a constitutional body, Election Commission of India responsible for the conduct of elections, right? Election Commission of India upholding the principles of transparency and accountability. In the எல்லா context it's an important body. So இதை வச்சு நிறைய questions வந்திருக்கு. So please go back and solve the previous year questions pertaining to both prelims and mains. Okay, so now with this, let us move forward to the next topic. In a first, Karaikal to get advanced fisheries processing cluster. So in the context, we all know Karaikal is an enclave in the Union Territory of Puducherry. Yes, so here they're talking about a scheme. So in the context, they're talking about a particular scheme called as the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Kisan Samriddhi Saha Yojana. Right, so இது வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா it is a central sector sub scheme under the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Okay, so here வந்து we're talking about the fisheries sector, processing in the fisheries sector. So here இது வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா it was launched in the year 2024, right, and it is for a period of 4 years, and here the budgetary outlay for this has been somewhere around 6,000 crore. Okay, so here it will be implemented in all states and union territories. அதுதான் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. The primary aim of this particular initiative, right, this particular scheme வந்து என்னன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா to ensure that number 1, fisheries sectorல formalization நடக்குது, right, MSMEs, right, etc. are being benefited, financing is being given, aquaculture farm set பண்றதுக்கு support is being given. Next one, fisheries sectorல இருக்கிற value chains, right, cold storage இருக்கட்டும், processing units இருக்கட்டும், right, இது எல்லாத்துக்குமே we are going to give them support. Next, fishery and fish product safety, quality assurance systems, right, monitoring, reporting, இது எல்லாமே has been discussed under this. So who will be the beneficiaries? பார்த்தா number 1, fish farms, right, fish vendors, right, then you have aquacultureல இறங்கி பண்றவங்க, self help groups இருக்கலாம், right, you have limited liability partnerships, you have fish farmers producer organizations, the FFPOs, right, and any other beneficiary that the Department of Fisheries may determine. So இவங்க எல்லாருமே beneficiaries. The idea is, see, India, we all know, India is nothing but a peninsula. Peninsula na enna? Land surrounded by water on 3 sides, which means we have such great potential for what is called as a blue economy, right? Blue economy na enna? Sustainable use of marine resources. So export in fisheries, marine goods, right? Promoting aquaculture. Idu ellame can also be used to double farmers' income, especially those found along the coasts. So இது எல்லாமே can be somewhere where we can, like, you know, tap on the economy, provide livelihood opportunities to many people. So in the context this particular scheme has been discussed. Okay, so just go back and read about this because schemes based questions வருது நிறைய examல. So you should have a clarity about the scheme, the beneficiaries, the objectives, the ministry involved, right? A mild idea about the budget. Okay, and which states are included? Is it pan India or not? Is it centrally sponsored or a central sector scheme? இது எல்லாமே உங்களுக்கு ஒரு ஐடியா இருக்கணும். Okay, so that's it with regard to it. So next, in the context, right, we saw an unfortunate incident which has taken place. 5 children among 7 killed in cloudburst landslides in Kathua. So yes, Jammu and Kashmir பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் we just saw Kishtwarல there was a cloudburst event, right? Similarly, in Kathua district also there was unfortunately a cloudburst event which has also triggered like, you know, massive landslides, as a result of which certain people have lost lives, right? Rescue options are underway. So in the context, yes, it is quite unfortunate that instances like this are increasing in the Indian Himalayan region. நம்ம பேசினது தான், please go back and read. We've already discussed what is a cloudburst, why, what are the trigger factors for flash floods to take place, right? And in the context how to enhance disaster preparedness, mitigation, right? Capacity building எப்படி enhance பண்ணலாம், இது எல்லாமே is your core static areas in disaster management. Please go read about it. Read about the National Disaster Management Authority, the Disaster Management Act of 2005, right? The role of the NDRF, right? And I also, if time permits, please read about the Sendai framework. Sendai framework. So நீங்கள் நிறைய ஆன்சர்ஸ் டிசாஸ்டர் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் வச்சு எழுதும்போது கோட்டிங் தி செண்டாய் ஃப்ரேம்வொர்க் ஃபார் டிசாஸ்டர் ரிஸ்க் ரிடக்ஷன் கேன் ஆக்சுவலி ஹெல்ப். Okay, so here the context of the issue is the same. Cloudburst பற்றி நம்ம நிறையா பேசியிருக்கோம் already, so just go and read it. Okay, fine. So next in this context, right, let's talk about one more topic. Environmentலேருந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா grassland invaders stifle Assam's island-like national park home to feral horses, says a study. Okay, so எந்த national park பற்றி பேசுகிறோன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா we are talking about the Dibru Saikhowa National Park, the Dibru Saikhowa National Park, okay, which is located in Assam. So here வந்து பார்த்தா one of the unique features of the Dibru Saikhowa National Park is, number one, it has what is a riverine ecosystem. So என்ன சொல்கிறாங்கன்னா யூஸ்வலி ஒரு aquatic ecosystem இருக்குது, and if there is any plant which is causing damage, it is more or less invasive species. Invasive species பற்றி ஒரு detailed playlist இருக்குது, please go watch it when you get time. So invasive species are those which enter into a place, cause damage to the place, right, reduce the population of native species, right, and can hamper the existing native ecosystem. But in the context என்ன சொல்லியிருக்காங்கன்னா Dibru Saikhowa National Parkல rather than invasive species, it is also certain other different varieties of plants which is altering the riverine ecosystem habitat which is found over here. Number one, so in the context what are those plants அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா grassland invaders. Number one, you have Bombax ciba, right? You have Lagerstromia speciosa. These are some examples, so you don't have to memorize the names, but just try to have a rough idea. Next, இது தவிர என்ன சொல்லியிருக்காங்கன்னா they've spoken about what is called as feral horses. So in the image பாருங்க, this is nothing but feral horses, right? It's ordinary horses. So என்ன கதைன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா World War II டைமில் வந்து நிறையா troops வந்தாங்க. இந்த troops எடுத்துகிட்டு வந்த horses, right, were just left behind. So Dibru Saikhowa is the only place in the world to host feral horses. இந்த கரண்டா இருக்கிற horses யாருன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா descendants of the horses which were left back as early as World War II when it happened. Okay, so in the horses they do not have any recognition under the Wildlife Protection Act, right? They just live and thrive over there. But in the horses, because they don't have any proper recognized protection status, they are also facing many conservation threats. Okay, so this is one interesting fact about the Dibru Saikhowa National Park. So few more things for you. So ஏன் இந்த riverine ecosystem மாறிட்டு இருக்குன்னு பார்த்தா number one habitat loss and fragmentation நடக்குது, anthropogenic factors, right? Man-made factors இருக்கலாம், exploiting the water resources over here, right? At the same time other activities, right? Personal care needs kaga, the role of invasive species, all these have been certain factors which are affecting the natural park, this particular natural park or riverine ecosystem. And in the context yes, few more things we need to understand. National park, so protected areas pati pesambodhu, national park, wildlife sanctuaries, all these are major protected areas. So the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 talks about national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, conservation reserves, community reserves, etc. So in the context differences between national park and wildlife sanctuaries. National park aims at conserving the natural landscape, wildlife sanctuaries are more species centric in their approach. National parks are much more stricter, wildlife sanctuaries they are less stricter. Limited human interference or rather limited biotic interference is allowed in a wildlife sanctuary, right? A wildlife sanctuary can be upgraded to a national park, but a national park can never be downgraded to a wildlife sanctuary. So in the madriyana differences, please go and read. And let me tell you, any national park, wildlife sanctuary mentioned in news, it has a very high probability of coming in the exam. So in the context please go back and read the major protected areas. Okay, so I hope this part is clear. So next, moving forward, right, let us talk about this. So one study was done, right? So idla enna sollirukanga, biodiversity everywhere is ordered by a common hidden pattern. So idha what they have said. So let us understand few things. Okay, so recently pathina scientists from different countries of the world, they have said that around the world biodiversity is designed like an onion. Okay, or onion madri da biodiversity or design irukku. I know it seems very confusing, but let us understand this. So the entire world pathina, it is nothing but different biogeographic units. So biogeographic units in solumbodhu, there is rich biodiversity, there is the influence of climate, talking about climate, temperature, precipitation, soil, right? All of this influences the biodiversity of a place. So enna solranga, even if you take land, if you take any continent, any ocean, biodiversity distribution basically eppadi irukku. For example, idu or particular continent, okay ya, center edathila paatha you have very specialized species. In the species paatha, they could also be endemic. Endemic na enna, found only within a particular place. And on the outskirts paatha, you have many generalist species. Okay, so ஒரு onion நீங்க எடுத்துட்டீங்கன்னா, how you peel an onion from the outer edges and go to the inside, அப்படிதான் biodiversity is also distributed across different continents and oceans. So inner layer you have very rare and specialized species, outer layers you have generalist species, and they are widespread on the outer periphery. Okay, so ஏன் இது ரொம்ப important ன்னு பார்த்தா, number one, right, in a world that we live today, climate change is rampantly happening. So yes, wildlife conservation projects kaga it is very useful. Understanding the population distribution of different species kaga it can be useful for future research, right? Understanding many other factors, like factors which can affect biodiversity, ecological trends understand pandradhukku, idu ellathukkume this can be significant. So overall this is a very interesting study, right? But just try to understand the context of it. So yes, in the context look at this. 2011 la ketirukanga, the Himalayan range is very rich in species. Which one among the following is the most appropriate reason for this phenomenon? Himalayan region species richness is very very high, or rather Himalayan region is very rich in species. Which has been responsible for it அப்படினு கேக்குறாங்க. One, rainfall அதிகமா இருக்கு, which supports luxuriant vegetative growth. It is a confluence of different biogeographical zones. Exotic and invasive species have not been introduced in this region. It has less human interference. So definitely we know these two are wrong, because Himalayas human interference irukku. Invasive species பத்தி articles நிறைய பார்த்துக்கிட்டே இருக்கும். So in the statement, species richness justify pandradhukku which can be correct. So the correct answer is because it is a confluence of different biogeographical zones. யோசிச்சு பாருங்க, if you take the entire Himalayan region, right, there is a rule, biodiversity and species richness பற்றி பேசும்போது species diversity decreases from the equator to the poles, that is it decreases from lower to higher latitude. Similarly, it decreases from lower to higher altitude. So my mountains எடுத்துக்கிட்டா கூட each zone, right, will have its own climatic condition, right? I mean, the temperature difference will be there, right? The soil will be there. So you can itself understand topmost region where it is filled with ice. The species found over here can definitely be different from what is found in the bottom. So overall, இங்கே இருக்கிற species, இங்கே இருக்கிற species இது எல்லாமே add பண்ணா we will get such different variety of species. So in the context, you need to understand the major reason for that is nothing but option B. Confluence of different biogeographical zones. Okay, so this is one. Next, let's talk about it. There is a term, Healthocide, war against healthcare. So basically வந்து என்னன்னா Healthocide, in the word you can use it in your answers, right? So Israel-Palestine conflict பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் when we have been watching, we've also been reading that Israel has been attacking many civilian places, for example hospitals, schools, etc. So in the context, for Israel the justification has been people of Palestine are using Hamas as civilian shields. Okay, I mean Hamas is using Palestinian people as civilian shields. So இதுதான் அவங்க சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. So in the context, bombing hospitals and schools, etc. is justified with this particular reason that Israel has been stating. But on the other hand, when there is already a war, right, the only place where people can get treated வந்து எதுன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா healthcare centers. இப்போ நீங்கள் healthcare centerயும் போய் bomb பண்ணா, it is completely causing a great damage to the life of healthcare professionals, right, on the existing infrastructure, right, and you are further worsening the damage. So in the context here, there is a term which has been coined, which is nothing but Healthocide, which is nothing but a war against healthcare. Okay, so these are some terms. So yes, with this we have completed the discussion for today, right? So I hope the discussion was useful. Important ana topics, please go back and revise, right? Sila topics I have asked you to cover by watching the previous lectures. Please go do that. Thank you.